One of the things we see a lot of in our business is customers that want to program music internally. And this is not limited to your local pub or restaurant. We've seen it in multi-site businesses with hundreds of stores. We also work with large agencies and supply to smaller background music operators that don't necessarily have the infrastructure, capability or licenses to do it by themselves. So this video is for both of those customer types, venue DJs and the boutique background music suppliers. By the end of this video, you'll be a programming professional. By the way, if you're new here, this is a channel for businesses looking to improve customer experience and engagement through music, signage, and interactive technology in your bricks and mortar establishments. So click subscribe. I'm going to kick off with a tip, and that is think long term. Think about how you will update music regularly, the system and the member of staff responsible. By system, I mean not only the playback system, but also the guidelines that the member of staff will follow for music selection and playlist generation. The system you put in place should ensure that the right music is playing at the right time, and that requires a good degree of control and discipline from staff. What we're going to cover today are 5 steps: playback system selection, the music brief, sourcing music, building the database and playlist, and scheduling of those playlists. A more sophisticated process has additional steps of integration, analytics, and reporting, but we'll cover that off in other videos. Look, 20 minutes may seem like a long video, but we're talking about setting up a complex system that is an important aspect of your business. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not that long. Nonetheless, we've got some shorter options for you. The playback system is a good place to start because ultimately, all that precedes it must integrate with it. So you need to understand what you're plugging the content into from the start. The most common consumer playback systems that are used are iTunes and Spotify. iTunes is suitable for multi-site businesses. So in this scenario, central resource creates the playlist, loads them on iPods, then gets them sent to site. It's clunky, but it works. And I know of a large bank that operates this way, and they have a licensing consultant take care of the music reproduction costs. In our experience, Spotify is used regularly in standalone businesses like gyms and bars. It's a popular application. It is obviously community-based too, so there may be playlists that suit. But if you believe in the capability of your resident DJ, then you want to be creating your own playlist. We'll get into that a bit later. If you have any questions, get in touch. We're here to help. Step 2 is the music brief. This is perhaps the most challenging part of the programming process. It will require a lot of brainpower, particularly if marketing is foreign to you. The idea is to do an audit of your business. Don't worry about the actual songs at this stage. We'll cover that off in music sourcing. The music brief process should define what you want to play and when you want it to play. We have a technical tool that does this part of the process for us, and you can check it out in the description. Just check out the link. It will provide some good insights into the objective process of music programming. Emphasis on the word objective. Where most businesses get it wrong is putting too much faith in staff. Staff will often play what they want to hear or get interpretation of the customer experience, brand or atmosphere wrong. So let's start with when you want to play. Here you should plan a 12-month calendar. You might want to change it by season or consider special events and occasion. Christmas is the obvious one, but how about Mother's Day, Halloween or Valentine's Day with a love theme? Thematic programming is a great way to reinforce your key events, and it could also include promotions, for example, toy sales. The calendar drills down further to day of week and time of day. Time of day should cover time staff are in the venue. Consider whether it needs to change by day part. Recently, I was dining at a restaurant in a premium hotel and listened to the music, and it was very good selection of music. It suited the occasion, the hotel brand, and its clients. It was contemporary, easy listening, up-tempo music. I got a coffee in the morning from the same restaurant, and it was the same playlist. So not only was it repetitious, but the tempo wasn't right for that time of day. So that covers off the when. Now it's time for the what. To select the songs that are right for your business, it helps to revisit aspects of your business, The goal here is to make the process as objective as possible to define variables that help in song selection. There are 4 variables that determine the music: customer, atmosphere, staff, and brand positioning. It's a good idea to rank each of those variables, force a discipline of what should be front of mind when you're choosing your songs. Also state whether the music should be safe for all ears. We use a traffic light system that works very well. Green is safe, amber is used with caution. It might be to avoid songs that are censored or use words that can be misinterpreted, like funk. And red has expletives. I was at a venue recently that boasted facilities for kids. It had a great playground and the speakers were the same speakers used for live performances. We're talking 500 watt speakers for a background music system, so the music was crystal clear in the playground. The building was a glorified tin shed. It was rustic with a large outdoor veranda set in the Australian bush. The music playlist was great. It was contemporary indie folk. It lent itself beautifully to the surroundings and occasion. So anyway, my 2-year-old son is playing in the kids' playground and he's dancing to the music. He's an absolute sponge and a parrot. He hears the almost inaudible and amplifies it back at full volume. Then the unedited version of Mumford & Sons' Little Lion Man played. There's such an emphasis on the F word in that song over and over again. Define your customer by age and gender. Here you can see what we do with our tool. We like to rate the importance of each segment. Not only do we cover who your target audience is, but also who it is not. Atmosphere is about energy and the physical space on a scale from stop to sprint. The science here is that tempo influences our perception of time. The faster the tempo, the faster we perceive time to be moving. We have a client that is a well-established men's clothing brand. Its customer was older than its target audience and sales were going down. So we put in a contemporary up-tempo playlist and increased the volume in store. The music reinvigorated the brand and attracted the audience back to store. And it also repelled the audience that they didn't want. And for eateries, it's turnover of tables versus staying longer to buy more food and drinks. The physical space can be defined as classic to modern, and on another spectrum, from casual to elite. Furnishings, lines, colours, displays, and lighting all help define these attributes. Brand positioning has 4 variables: quality from good to high, price from cheap to premium, appeal from unique to popular, and sophistication from simple to sophisticated. A handy tip to help define your brand and the music that goes with it is to list popular brands that are like your brand and listen to the music associated with that brand. The music that is right for brands are those that are used in commercials. They've gone through a rigorous process with an agency, often involving consumer research, to select the song that best reflects their brand. So if in your business, brand is of great importance in the music programming process, and there is a brand that is aspirational to your business, then it's a great place to start. And with today's apps, it only takes one song that starts the music discovery process. Terrestrial radio stations are also great to reference. Know their audience and their mood they're trying to elicit through their music. Of course, music is only one element. Expand your thinking from BGM to creation of your business's own radio channel. The ubiquity of music can often dilute our thinking of the effectiveness of audio. However, it's very powerful. From its use in gaming machines to the audio cues in our computers, it subconsciously elicits an emotional response. And unlike digital signage where your customer can look away, music is always on. Your customers can't escape it. So your own radio channel can have jingles and IDs that define your brand and connect it with your customer. When you layer on messaging, you have a very robust program. If you have any questions, get in touch. We're here to help. Step 3 is music sourcing. Music sourcing should cover where you find the music and where you download it from. This is the tricky part. Choosing the right music requires skill. Suspending subjectivity and interpreting objective measures is something that requires knowledge and experience. In step 2, we spoke about the music brief. That needs to translate to a set of rules that determines music selection. At this point, it's a good time to ask yourself, how sophisticated do you want to get? If you want to keep it simple, then reference playlists from reputable digital and terrestrial radio stations that are relevant for your business. When choosing the radio station, ask yourself, Does the station play the music that could be the backing track of your business? Will it appeal to your target customer and staff? And will it complement the physical environment that it is played in? If you choose this simple approach, you can skip this next bit. If you want the best background music service that you can create, keep watching. Here are the rules that can help. Energy in the atmosphere is best defined by tempo, and tempo correlates with heart rate. In fact, it not only correlates, it can affect heart rate. When we're stationary, our resting heart rate is around 70 beats per minute. When we're doing aerobic activity, it will be over 120. Modernity is best defined by the era and genre of music, so an awareness of the year of release is important. Of course, it's not that clear cut, as some songs will date quickly and some may be defined as timeless. These tend to be associated with particular genres. For example, jazz and classical music haven't fundamentally changed over time, but pop, rock, and electronic have and do change. If we're evoking a mood from sad to happy, generally speaking, major keys and chords elicit happiness and minor keys and chords elicit sadness. Familiarity can be a driver, so you may choose music from the era of your target audience. You can use a formula. I'll put it up on the screen for you. It's the current year minus your target audience age plus 23 plus or minus 5. For gender, use songs that have vocals by the gender of your target audience. Chances are the lyrics appeal to the respective gender. For most brand positioning variables, genre is the key driver. This can be quite complex. For instance, we provide music to a vast array of customers, have about 20 genres and 60 subgenres that we build up into channels of music. I'll go into this into a little bit more detail in the next step, but generally speaking, classical and traditional jazz tend to be associated with premium offers and classic brands. Pop and electronic support contemporary positions to younger audience. Pop, as the name suggests, will support a popular positioning, high visitation, high volume, affordable everyday products. Alternative pop and rock can support a more unique positioning and appeal to customers that are more image-centric. Of course, this is one big generalization and there are countless numbers of exceptions to the rules. And if you've got a bunch of questions, that is to be expected. You may be asking, for instance, how do I know the BPM, the key and the genre? Well, there are a bunch of tools out there that can import music into and give you the answer. Some are free, some have a cost. My suggestion is to go for a tool that will also normalize your music. You want your audio files to have the very similar levels and not depend on the playback system to do the job for you. Rekordbox is one such tool. It's available for Mac and PC, plus it not only normalizes the volume, but analyzes the track. Check the link in the description. It's also worthwhile sourcing music from a reputable platform such as iTunes, as it will have some track information to save you manually searching for it on the net. It also ensures the integrity of the track, i.e. it's close to the master copy. Make sure you download as an MP3. It's non-encrypted and industry standard. In terms of bitrate, there are a couple of things to consider. Firstly, the bandwidth and the storage cost. This will be a consideration if you have multiple sites and intend on building a large library. The second consideration is the speakers that the music is going to play on and the volume of it. The bigger the speakers, the bigger the MP3 file needs to be. We're talking about background music, so I'll steer clear of a suitable music format for foreground music applications on big sound systems. Look, if you have any questions, get in touch. We're here to help. Okay, step 4, building a database and playlists. The database is optional, but of more importance when your library expands and if you have multiple sites. The level of detail you put in the database depends on how sophisticated you want your music program to be. You'll need details about the song and then the playlist it might belong to. Another level of detail, particularly if you're a background music supplier, is channels. Think of a channel as a radio station or a search term you might enter into your favorite music platform when searching for a playlist. Club sounds, easy listening, chill out, smooth sounds are all examples of channels. These names are quite evocative and they capture a moment or an occasion. They are very effective descriptions when trying to communicate the sound and feel of the music in words. At a bare minimum, the song metadata or tags should include artist, title, year of release, genre, BPM, and rating. It's easy to have dozens of tags depending on how accurately you want to express the soundtrack. So subgenre, key, vocal type, artist, country of origin, and lyrics are some others. Lyrics are good to include for thematic programs. For Valentine's Day, you might search for songs that contain the word love or heart that are sung by a female in a major key. It's also useful to know the date the song was added to the database and correspondingly update it on your player. You can build a database in a number of database apps. Excel and Access come to mind, and there are music-centric programs too. Do a bit of research and see what solution best fits your situation. And a word of caution, it can get clunky when you're trying to reconcile what is on the player versus what is in the database. A bespoke database is the best solution for professional music programmers. From the music brief, you will have specific guidelines for the music style by day of week and time of day. A playlist is a group of songs that plays at a particular point in time. When grouping songs for the playlist, consider duration required and acceptable levels of repetition. Most apps will tell you the duration of the playlist. If you've got a 4-hour playlist in an 8-hour time slot and you value full-time staff motivation, then you'll get staff complaints. But don't panic. It wasn't that long ago that CDs were the format and retailers would play 1 or 2 CDs for a month, which translates to 2.5 hours of music on repeat. The database that you're using should be used to generate the playlist. And if you're updating music for existing playlists, that date added tag you put onto the song will make life a lot easier. And a last piece of advice. Chances are you have an existing library, but it's not very organized. There's some really good tools out there that can analyze your audio files. Check out BeatTunes, there's a link in the description. The program will color code similar songs and tell you the key and BPM. Furthermore, it will also create a recommended playlist of songs. If you have any questions, we're here to help, so get in touch. Step 5 is scheduling the playlists. Scheduling the playlist is the easy bit. In the music brief step, you will have laid out when you need to consider changing the playlist. This is about choosing the tools to perform the task. Some of you will be happy for dynamic control. That is, you'll change the playlists when you feel like it. But if you want to be hands-off or you don't want staff taking over the hard work you've just done to get to this stage, then you'll need to schedule music. Thankfully, there are scripts available that do the hard work for you. Check out the link in the description for one such script for iTunes, and Spotify playlists can be managed with Zapier. If you have any questions, get in touch. We're here to help.